Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon to share with you this presentation. Today I'm tasked to present to you um, the franchise advantage. Okay, hold on. I'll just need to put my presentation. Okay. The franchise advantage, resiliency, and growth. FranCorp has been doing business in the Philippines for over 25 years, and we've really seen a lot of businesses grow through grow exponentially through franchising. And this afternoon, I'll focus essentially on um, these key points. Number one, franchising allows you to grow even in uncertain times. It allows you to spread the risk, no? Allowing you to essentially use other people's money, time, and organization. It's also a very good equalizing the playing field. Whether you are a new business, kung bago ka lang na negosyo and you're thinking of expanding your business, or maybe you've been in business for over 5 years or 10 years and you have several stores, but you think that this is the time for you to really, grow the business exponentially. Maybe you're operating from Metro Manila, or you're from a regional business center outside Metro Manila. I know that this afternoon, during the scan of the participants, I know that there are um, a lot of attendees that comes from outside Metro Manila. No, so franchising can also afford you to grow your business. Um, Whether you do business or an old been operating for over 10 years, franchising can definitely help you in expanding your business. Um, Another thing is that most people think that franchising is only for food. We've been doing this for a long time, and we know that we've done a lot of concepts, not only in food but also in retail and services. So let's essentially do a quick poll, a quick scan of the concepts that we have this afternoon. So we do have a lot of food in line and kiosk, and this is followed by online, I don't know, online and home-based businesses. This business has been growing because of the pandemic. There has been a growth in the online and home-based businesses, and we are actually exploring ways to to help these people doing online and home-based businesses to really go into franchising and really grow their business. So I'll just end the poll right now, and let me start um, with my presentation. So just quickly, just to show you, food is still in front. No, that's almost half, followed by retail and services, and close fourth is actually online business and home-based businesses. Okay, so let's move forward with my presentation. With the new normal, businesses had to rethink on how they essentially do their business, how they execute their business. That's been the challenge for most of us. And from across all industries, we've adopted a lot of ways, no, to really protect our customers, protect our employees, and to continue to provide services and products to our customers. So that's essentially the challenge right now. How do you grow your business during these very trying times, no? With challenges in social distancing, with people working from home, with travel restrictions. What are your venues? What are your options to grow your business? The first option is, of course, to continue to grow your business through company-owned units. You essentially um, um, grow your business using internal funds, borrowed capital, and equity investments in some cases. But there is a risk of capital and manpower because, of course, with growing organically will entail creating that fund for you to be able to provide capital for your additional stores, and also um, recruiting new employees for you to be able to run the business. Another option is, of course, partnership, dealership, distributorship, or wholesale. Let's talk about partnership. When it comes to partnership, um, it's a bit of a higher risk because number one, with partnership, it's a very long engagement. You know, a typical partnership, if you formalize it, will run will run for 50 years. No, if you register it with our SEC or DTI, it will run for 50 years. And there's a danger of control, no, losing control of the business, because essentially you allow the partner to own the brand as well as the company. So that's the risk that you run if you go into partnership. When it comes to dealership, when you're talking about products, you can go into dealership, distributorship, or wholesale. With dealership and distributorship and wholesale, you may lose control of the brand because most of the dealers will not accept exclusivity. No, most of the dealers will actually carry some of your competitors as well. So essentially, you lose control of exclusivity. So what's the best option for you? The best option for you is, of course, franchising, because franchising allows you to manage your risk. You essentially continue to own the business, continue to have hold of the brand, with and allowing you to, you know, expand your business using other people's resources. Um, so let's define what franchising is. Franchising is essentially allowing another person to use your trade name, your logo, and your operating system for a fee. How franchising works is that you have a framework where you have a franchisee and a franchisor. The franchisor is essentially the owner of the business, the originator of the brand. The franchisee is the investor. He invests into the franchising system by paying the initial fee. When we talk about initial fee, we talk about franchise fees, we talk about investment. Um, so the in the franchising framework, the franchisee essentially um, puts up the capital to be able to construct the location, the franchise location. He also assumes full operational responsibility in running the business. So that's very important as well. And as part of the franchising framework, your franchisee will essentially pay you a continuing royalty on a regular basis. Okay? And most often, the franchisee buys products from the franchisor. These are what we call proprietary products, products that are not available in the market, but essentially exclusively distributed by the franchisor. So those are the basic framework of a franchising setup. Now, on the end of the franchisor essentially allows the franchisee to use the trade name and the operating system. He also trains the franchisee on how to run the business. Anything that pertains to the business, there is a transfer of know-how and knowledge to the franchisee and his employees. You also, as a franchisor, you also provide assistance, no, continuing assistance on a regular basis, because it's in your best interest to make sure that your franchisee is profitable and successful. So those are the essential responsibilities of a franchisor. You also provide ongoing support and services to your franchisee. This may come into services like, you know, providing consultation, providing assistance to your franchisees when they need marketing assistance or other assistance that they may need to operate the business. Okay, so moving forward, we always say that franchising has a very high success rate as compared to a startup, because you essentially are banking on the experience of the franchisor in running the business. You bank on the experience, the network, and the brand of the franchisor. As compared, if you're a startup, you essentially, you know, reinvent all of this, and you essentially you need to be able to generate all of this for you to be able to start your business, to keep your business running. Okay. As we said earlier, we shared with you. I'm sharing with you um, the statistics of the franchising industry in the Philippines. Majority of our franchisors in the Philippines are still in food. This is closely followed um, by retail and services. As we've seen in our ano, no, in our poll, this is reflected in our polls this afternoon. But because of the pandemic, there is now a rise in home-based and online businesses. Um, one of the advantages of franchising, as I've mentioned earlier, is you essentially um, spread the risk because you allow the franchisee to use your operating system um, and your trademark for a fee, no? So these are the resources that you are able to capitalize on when you start to go into franchising. Quick question, you know. Imagine, for example, imagine that you have an unlimited um, money, time, and organizational capability. What would your business look like in 5 years? So let's take a poll. Okay. How many stores would you want in the next 5 years? If you have all the money in the world, if you have all the time in the world and all the organizational capacity, how would you grow your business in the next 5 years? Okay. We see a lot of this. This is very encouraging. No? Majority are looking at over 500 branches. Okay. Which is very good. Um, okay. Half of the participants are looking at growing their business with over 500 um, stores in the next 5 years. Okay, let's end it at that. So, with unlimited money, time, and organization, you can actually grow your business, and that's what franchising affords you to do. To affords you, no, because essentially franchising allows you to have access to your franchisors' capital. It creates revenue streams for you. Hold on. It creates revenue streams for you and your franchisee. What the franchisee brings into the system is really um, the money, time, and organization. Let's talk about the money. When you go into franchising, you will be able to realize number one, franchise fees. When potential franchisees will invest into the franchise system, they are they should be able to pay the franchise fee. This is the initial investment that they have to pay to you. This is like a membership fee to the franchising framework. You also will be able to realize royalty. No, you will collect royalty on a regular basis. Royalty is collected normally on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis. And the thing with royalty is that you collect this as long as the franchise agreement is enforced. So if the franchise agreement is, if the franchise term is 5 years, that means you will continue to collect royalties for the whole 5 years. Okay. The next fee that you will be able to realize when you go into franchising is the advertising fee. The system-wide advertising fee is essentially a brand building fund. You use it for PR, you use it for brand marketing, you use it for um, any brand marketing activity or strategy. You use it for buying billboards in EDSA. You use it for advertising slots in major TV networks. Okay, that's why you are able to see the big brands, franchise brands like TGP and Jollibee are able to advertise during prime time because they have a system-wide advertising fee which they collect to every franchisee that they have. The other is of course the local store advertising fee. The local store advertising fee you don't actually collect, but you monitor. This is the fee that the franchisee needs to spend for him to be able to market within his trading area. So it benefits his business. So he is actually incentivized to make sure that he spends this advertising fee to be able to grow his business in his trading area. The next is of course the capital, no? The capital in putting up the store. Very important that in franchising, it's a given that the franchisee will essentially put up the capital to start the business. And as I've said before, most likely your franchisee buys products from you. These are what we call proprietary products, products that are unique to you, that only you can provide your franchisor. So these are the revenues that you will realize when you go into franchising. Remember that these revenues you will only realize if you go into franchising. If you don't go into franchising, you will never realize these revenues. The next is of course the element of time, the day-to-day responsibility of direct management. Yung araw-araw na alam mo yon, yung sakit ng ulo day-to-day responsibility that really sometimes bug you down, no? It hampers you from really growing the business kasi ito yung mga bagay na pwede mo nang i-delegate sa franchisee mo. For example, hindi pumasok yung opening crew mo. Sino yung magbubukas ng tindahan? So ikaw pa kung wala kang franchisee, ikaw pa yung magtatawag kung sino yung papapasokin mo. But if you have a franchisee who's running the business, you essentially delegate that responsibility to the franchisee. Okay, so that's one of the biggest advantage of running a franchise business. The next is of course you're able to open multiple units in a month, depending on the complexity of your operations. When it comes to organizational capability, you're able to maximize manpower because essentially your franchisee will hire their own people. You will just focus on monitoring, training your franchisees. So you have a leaner organization. You also have access to the community contacts of the franchisee. If he is a known person in that community, then that's a very good goodwill for and even for the brand. And even if your franchisee has very good government and local LGU connections, that's also a plus for you. Okay, so those are the advantages that you get when you go into franchising. So let's move forward. So the next slide shows you the two most important assets in a franchising framework. The first is the name, the brand. The second is the system. This is why your franchisee pays you the franchise fee and the royalty on a regular basis, because of these two major assets as a franchisor. No, so let's talk about them one by one. The first is the use of the name. When it comes to branding, it essentially means that you have a very strong brand identity. You know exactly your brand positioning. You know your target market. You know who you are. You know how to reach your target market. You've essentially created a very good brand equity, and that also includes branding. Also includes the products and innovation that you do. Okay. The quality of the product, the quality of the service that you provide, even the facilities is part of your branding. Part of your branding as well is the customer experience. If you're able to deliver the customer experience consistently, that's part of your branding. That's the strength of franchising. You're able to duplicate your operations in different locations. The next is of course what we call the use of the system. essentially, when you go into franchising, you need to have a very established, proven, written operating system. It essentially dictates anything that happens in the store, how you measure how you execute your business, how you deliver the product and the services. This is very, very important because that will be the basis for training your franchisees. Your operating system should also be dynamic, as you mature as an operator, as you create and increase your efficiency in your operations, you should be able to continue to um, update and evolve the operations. If you have new products and services to offer, you need to be able to cascade that to your franchisees. So you need a very stable operating system that will essentially cover all aspects of the operation, anywhere from recruitment, getting the licenses, anything that happens in the store between the time that you open the store and the time you close the store should be encapsulated in your operating system. Moving forward, we talk about the franchising as a equalizing equalizing the playing field. As I've said earlier, whether you're a new business or you've been in business for 5 years, franchising can definitely help you in expanding your business. Whether you have one store or maybe even 10 stores, franchising can continue to give you advantage in expanding your business exponentially. Let's talk about some examples. For example, Potato Corner started as a cart operation in the in the late 80s, okay? And eventually grew to a global brand. They have a global presence in over what? Over close to 10 countries right now. But because of the pandemic, they continue to evolve as a business, no? They focused on their on micro communities and continue to use their franchisees to service and continue to provide products to their loyal customers, no? So what they did was they created a special task force wherein these franchisees are able to provide the ingredients, the French fries, the flavorings, anything that you need to recreate that product in your homes, that can be available to the community. So they use their franchisees to be able to continue to be relevant to their customers because they continue to be available in the market, no, whether in their communities or in other channels as well. The next is, of course, the mom and pop, no. We talk about Jollibee and Max's. These are two of the biggest um, restaurant brands in the Philippines, no. They started out very, very mom and pop, small operations. They grew to restaurant giants, able to reach global market as well. But because of the pandemic, they created programs for them to continue their business and also continue to reach their market. So in the case of Jollibee, during the early times of the lockdown, Jollibee was allowed to sell their raw chicken joy in major supermarkets. In the case of Max's, they created Market Day, no, wherein they go to communities and offer their ready to cook items. In the case of global brands, for example, going local is we have seriously addictive mathematics. This is a brand from Singapore and now is in the Philippines. They were able to continue to evolve as a brand. As you know, most of the educational system is going online, and that's really the mode of education that we'll be looking at in the next 10 to 5 years. So as far as innovation, as far as adapting to the new normal, these franchise brands continue to innovate and continue to be available in the market para relevant pa rin sila sa mga customers nila. Even if, even if you have restrictions in travel, you're able to, enjoy French fries at potato corner French fries at the in your homes. Jollibee Chicken Joy in your homes. Even if meron tayong mga travel restrictions, your kids can continue to enjoy the classes because of online classes. Okay, so these are what these brands have actually adopted to be able to continue to grow their business in this pandemic. When it comes to the regional brands, in FranCorp, majority of our clients come from Metro Manila, about 60%. But this is closely being followed by regional brands. No, later on we will meet Miss Hannah from Polomolok. They have I think they have close to 4 brands right now, and they've been franchising for quite a while. And she will tell you the power of franchising. Even if you're not from Metro Manila, you can continue to grow within your community, and franchising can definitely help you in expanding your business, going from regional to national. Okay. When it comes to starting points, no, you can be a young entrepreneur like Faron Cafe. I remember when they started with us, um, um, his wife was still in college. Okay, he started with us about what 7-8 years ago. But from there, being a 28-year-old entrepreneur, he was able to grow his business to over 200 stores. Currently, 200 stores. Okay. Another very young entrepreneur is, of course, the owner of Turk Shawarma. He was able to, when he started franchising, he had 40 stores. He wanted to make sure that the operations is stable, the system is there, the organization is ready for franchising, and that's when he started contacting us, and we created the franchise program for him, and he was able to grow his network of stores to up to 500 plus stores, no? So, or maybe you are something that's different, no? For example, the one that we did is Vibes Massage Services, which is the story behind this is that the founder is actually a visually impaired entrepreneur, and he really wanted to make sure that yung mga katulad niya na blind hindi mapupunta sa panlilimos. Gusto niya yung mga visually impaired, gusto niya may trabaho. That's why he created this business. Essentially, ang ginawa niya is train niya yung mga tao para maging massage therapist. Okay? And he created this business, and he franchised the business. And he was able to help over 800 individuals just because of, of that vision of helping the visually impaired. And then when you talk about complexity and new concept in the market, we talk about LTNG. This is a microfinancing business from Bicol, no? Who has now I think he has over 70 branches in the Philippines, and is now looking abroad to expand his business. Okay, from two locations in Bicol, he now has over 70 branches in the Philippines, and is now going international. And of course, the one that one of the biggest that we've done is actually the generics pharmacy, who started with just 1 store and grew the business to over 2,000 stores. So that's the story. Whether you are a young entrepreneur, whether you have one store, you have a concept that's very, very unique, that's very challenging. Whether you have, um, whether you're looking at helping other people, creating opportunities for other people, franchising can actually help you in growing your business, regardless of what vision or mission that you may have in growing your business. So this afternoon, we focused essentially on these three things. Number one is um, growing your business while managing risk. Very, very important to understand that growth has risk, and with franchising, that risk is essentially managed. You're able to accelerate your growth using other people's resources, using other people's money, time, and organization. Franchising is also a very good equalizer, no? When it comes to growing your business. You can start from any point, from any industry, whether you are in retail, service, or food. You can use franchising to really grow your business. Whether you're operating from Metro Manila or other regional um, um, areas in the Philippines, you can definitely grow your business using franchising. So that's essentially the last slide of my presentation. This is a quote from Reid Hoffman. The first the first mover advantage doesn't go to the company that starts up. It goes to the company that scales up. Simply means hindi porke ikaw yung una sa negosyo na yon, ikaw na yung magiging successful. The one who will be successful is the one who can really scale up the business. Okay? So it doesn't matter whether you're the first one or the last one. Whoever is able to scale the business actually wins in the business in front of franchising. So that's the last slide of my presentation.